I'm Jason Zimmerman from Channel 2
All right, good to meet
here.
you, Jason.
Just tell us when you're ready.
Cool. And we'll just keep it to 5 minutes.
Yep,
and I'll
you
give
bet.
a sign.
Just give me a sign.
Yeah, ready when
All
you are.
set. Senator Vance, one of the big issues on the campaign trail has been inflation, the cost of groceries, the cost of gas.
Yeah.
What would you do on day one to reverse that? And Democrats keep pointing to corporate greed. Is that a factor in this as well?
Well, look, it may very well be a factor, but the simple fact is the way to tamp down on that is to make sure we have competitive markets and low prices, right? You don't have to believe that, you don't have to believe that corporations are angels. Some of them are doing great jobs and some of them aren't, but that is not what's driving the most of the inflation in this country right now. What we're seeing consistently is energy prices are too high, food prices are too high, housing prices are too high. The story there is Kamala Harris supported the Inflation Explosion Act, and they've made it harder to produce American energy. When you do those two things, you're necessarily going to have inflation. So what President Trump and I believe is that we have to unleash the American worker, unleash American energy, drill more in our own country. That'll drive down the cost of energy and drive down the cost of everything in the process.
Democrats continue to talk about abortion on the campaign trail. I know former President Trump has said he believes it should be a decision that each state makes individually, but Democrats say, given the chance, you would sign a national abortion ban. Are they correct in saying that?
No, not at all. Look, the president has been very clear that he wants California to be able to make its abortion policy, Ohio and Wisconsin to make their abortion policy. And look, the voters of these states are going to come down on different sides of this issue. The voters should ultimately decide, not the national government. What President Trump believes and what I believe is that the national government's got to focus on the big issues. We've got to close down that southern border. We've got to bring the price of goods down for the American taxpayer, and in the process, bring more prosperity to our country.
Republicans have been calling on the vice president to do more interviews, to answer questions from the media. She's going to sit down with CNN tomorrow. What are your expectations?
My expectations is just that she actually answers the question. This is a person who said she wanted to defund the police, wanted to ban fracking, wanted to ban offshore drilling, supported the Inflation Explosion Act, and now Americans are living with the consequences. Normal people can't afford to buy groceries. They can't afford the price of rent. She needs to answer for her record. And instead of pretending that she agrees with Donald Trump on every issue, she needs to actually answer, why isn't she doing anything about it now? Kamala Harris consistently says on day one, she's going to work to solve the problems confronting the American people. Day one was 1,300 days ago. Why hasn't she done anything?
There's a big debate September 10th. Will Trump be on the stage? And if he's not on the stage, what could potentially keep him off that stage?
I think the president's going to debate Kamala Harris. We need to have a debate. The American people need to see the candidates. And I think President Trump is looking forward to having a good exchange of ideas.
Finally, I want to ask you about the border and stuff. There's a lot of people here who have already crossed over the border. What would you do to solve the border crisis on day one? And what happens to the people who have already crossed and are already right here in this country right now?
Well, first of all, we have to remember, we have to stop the bleeding here. Kamala Harris said that on day one, she wanted to suspend deportation. She did. She wanted to stop President Trump's very successful Remain in Mexico policy, and she did. We are now living with the consequences of it. Now, of course, once you stop the bleeding and stop the flow of illegal immigration, you've got to figure out what to do with the people. I think we focus on that criminal migrant population, the people who've committed violent crimes, deport them, and then figure out where you are from there. But you got to stop the bleeding, and you got to get the violent criminals out of this country.
Thanks, Senator Vance. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you.